Hello YouTube, hello my friends. Just on the outskirts of my garden here, just clearing some brush and old trees that fell down, chopping them up with a little electric chainsaw. What I'm doing is preparing to make some raised garden beds. I know a lot of people are interested in making raised beds. We're starting gardens this summer. And it's never too late. So whatever you do this year, be all ready for next year. What I'm doing here though, with all this stuff that's just basically laying around here on the edge of my property, edge of the garden, as a fire hazard. And I'm just collecting it up and I'm going to use it as a core for my raised beds. Well, let's go look over here. My apple trees. It's actually buds on them, which is a miracle because the deer, I thought, pretty much ate them all down to nothing. The one's just nubs, but it's got buds, so, and it's fenced off, so this is where my honeybees are going to go in a couple of weeks when I get them. And come over here and look at my raised beds and what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm collecting up wood. That's going to be the core of my raised beds. Oh, the wrong way as far as it goes. So yeah, these are about as cheap as you can go from the lumber store there. Home Depot or Rona or wherever I got them. They're 1 by 6 by 8s. I find 8 foot long is a good size. Over here, I'll show you. I've got 12 foot long beds. I think maybe you can see they bow out in the middle. Whereas the 8 foot long bed seems to be a lot easier to deal with that. But the problem is buying thin boards. You can see here. On the corners. This bed's only 2 years. No, this will be the 3rd year, maybe. Yeah, 3rd summer. But yeah, you know, the screw broke off and they come apart. If I was recommending, you know, you want something a little more easier to put together, I go with 2-inch boards and they'll hold up a lot better, stay together better, but they're also more expensive. And I'm in Canada, and lumber is not as cheap as I see all my friends there buying lumber in the United States. If you're in the United States, yeah, you got way better deals building a garden bed. But it's not the most important part of the bed anyways. You can build it out of anything, cinder blocks. You can take some logs and roll them up next to them, you know, whatever you have, old wood. We got old fencing wood over there I'm taking off. You can build a bed out of that. Anything you have on hand. I mean, this is about as cheap as you can go, about as thin as you can get a board. And, I mean, they're going to last years. That bed over there, these 2 beds in frame are, this will be the 5th year they're in there, maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 5th year, 4 at least. And they're fine. The most important thing is what you put in the bed. You want good soil. And I don't like spending a bunch of money. Here's my hascap berries coming into bloom. Awesome. The deer ate all my strawberries in the fall, so most of the plants went into winter like shredded right back. Not all of them came up, and dandelions blew in. It's a mess. But yeah, here's the dirt that came out of the ground from underneath the beds. This is my native clay kind of, I don't know, just whatever, nothing great, right? Then I got some grass and leaf. I just put in a pile and let it compost. That's about 3 years old. Show you what it looks like. There's different layers. You got, here. It's just, it turns to powder basically when you, and not, all that is leaves and mostly actually grass. Grass can be a pain. I'll show you some grass. This is what grass does. If you don't mix it up and stuff, you just let it sit. Turns into like layers. Plants will have a hard time getting through that. So you have to break it up or use it beneath where your plants will be growing, not on top of them. Well, yeah, so leaf and grass because I have it. If I had animals, I'd use their manures, of course. And then I use the dirt. Okay, so that's what goes into the bed. But that's not very good. I mean, you see the dirt there's not very good. Wherever you are, you might have issues with your dirt. It could be silty or sandy or clay, right? That's your three choices. But if you have too much of any one of those, it causes you problems for growing. So people amend with compost every year and bring in a bunch of expensive products and add fish bone meal stuff and then rock dust, all kinds of stuff. Instead of all that or spending any money, I make a fire and I burn all the brush or stuff that, you know, collects during the summer, weeds, anything you don't want, bits of wood and whatnot, and I make charcoal. I break up the charcoal and I run it through a 1/4 inch, I don't know what that, wire mesh, can't remember the name of it offhand at the store, but it comes in a small roll. It's pretty affordable. These kiddie pools are awesome for stuff, putting compost in. I put my charcoal in them. You can get stuff wet in them, cover them. They're just handy to have, keeps your stuff separate. It's easier than just making a pile on the ground. But yeah, I just make charcoal. What I do is crush it up with the sledgehammer. And you don't want to do this when it's super dry or you get lots of dust and then you'll get charcoal lung or something like that, right? Coal miner lung or something. So my trick is just to, I leave it outside, so usually it's kind of moist. It's dry today, the sun's been out on it. But what you can do is just wet it down a little bit. It's not going to affect how it breaks up or anything. It might even make it a little easier, I find. To dampen it down, it won't make dust. Smash it up with the, you know, something heavy. I'm using this sledge here. I don't know what it weighs or whatever, but it's heavy enough it smashes up pretty good with not too much effort. And then I strain it through there into that dirt there, which I strain into the wheelbarrow. Which is over there right now. But yeah, I just run this dirt through the wire mesh, get out any roots or rocks or anything I don't want in there. Makes it all uniform size. And as I do that into the wheelbarrow, I mix in the charcoal, and that makes, where can I dig up some dirt here? That takes my clay heavy, nasty dirt that I dug up from underneath this bed. It's been out here in the yard with grass growing on it. And look at this. It's silky smooth. If you could feel this, you know. It's full of the charcoal. Now, of course, you have to always add stuff to beds. I just use the leaf and grass mulch, just like I pile over there. Most people have it. If you got a lawn, or neighbors have trees, or you have trees, or you have wind, it's going to blow leaves onto your property. You're cutting your grass, just save it all, you know. I don't spend any money filling these beds. I don't add any fertilizer. Fresh green grass mulch, you dig a trench down the middle of the bed, fill that with that before you plant. That's way more fertilizer, like as far as nitrogen at least is concerned. I ruined a crop of potatoes doing that last year. Freshly made bed, and I loaded it with a bunch of fresh grass mulch because I had it. It was the middle of summer, and my potatoes were all scabby. The tops of them looked great all summer. I thought, oh, I'm gonna have great potatoes. Look how green they are. Well, that was too much nitrogen. So, I mean, if it's just as easy as that, putting some grass and leaves in there and providing the leaves have all the minerals, because the trees dig down way deep into the clay and the soil, bring up all those minerals to their leaves, and then they fall. And you put them in your garden, there's your minerals. The grass is full of nitrogen, and the worms will come along and eat both of these and whatever's mixed into the soil, and they'll poop out more nitrogen and more plant and water soluble minerals and bacterias that the plants can uptake easier and aid in uptaking other minerals easier, and all of a sudden you have this rich soil. And all I started with again was this. Now, when it's wet, it's like glue, and when it's dry, it's like cement or hard little rocks. It's not good soil. And that's all I used. No money. I used this, leaf, and grass mulch. And the secret ingredient to everything I do with gardening in the house or outside, planting trees, vegetables, bushes, whatever you're planting, this is the secret. This biochar, and I'll show you how to make this. And in the coming weeks I'll be putting in 3 beds here, so I'll show you how I'm doing it. Sifting the dirt. Well, first digging a hole, sifting the dirt, mixing it with the biochar, putting that on top, with a mix of compost on top of all my wood that I'm collecting, and I'll have a huglekulture raised bed for free, minus the cost of the lumber, which, like I said before, if you're in the United States, or if you have access to recycled stuff, or have stuff laying around, you can make them pretty much out of anything and everything, and I wouldn't really worry too much about them. Even cheaply made, with thin material I think would rot away unless you're living in the rainforest. It's going to last for years. Like right here, this is 5 years. 5th summer. It's going to have food in it. It's full of potatoes right now. Some other stuff will go in there. This one too. The skunk dug this one up last summer and found some bees. And I got a good look at the core, the huglekulture core again. Trees. If you're in the city or urban, you don't have access to trees. You have access to cardboard and lawn clippings, and you can sandwich those, make a lasagna in the bottom, and it won't function as well, but it'll create fertility, and worms will definitely love the cardboard and the leaves and all that, so you'll have good high nitrogen soil. I don't know how long it'll last, but there are materials you can use wherever you are. But yeah, again, the core, when the skunk excavated this last summer, I got a good look at it, and it was mostly still intact. The smaller stuff was gone, but the large pieces, that's why I like to use trees. The large pieces were all there. But yeah, this is a quick rambling on about raised garden beds. And yeah, like I said, in the coming videos, I'll show you how I'm making mine. And thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later, my friends.